Moment to hit record. Welcome. All right. So people are going to be popping in here, and I want to take a minute to say how excited I am to be having this conversation with you at this moment on our planet. There's a lot going on in this world that's really intense. And I know all of us here are women of compassion and wisdom. All of us. Those are the kinds of women I attract in my life. Women of compassion, women of wisdom, women who are turning the lemons into lemonade and taking the diamonds and the gold within and sharing them with the world. We are committed to expanding and evolving humanity in a way that is sane, that is healthy, that is rooted in love and aliveness. That is who we are as a community. I know this about you. I know this about us. And what is absolutely true, that I see is absolutely true, is that even in the world, even because of the world holding angst, there are challenging things. We don't have to cut those parts off of ourselves to be connected to our joy, to be connected to our turn on. And in fact, your turn on, what legit turns you on, has you come alive, fosters love and joy and vision and fun inside of you, is the medicine. It is the medicine. It is the true north. It's what guides us forward. And it's time. And it's time for us to embrace going to whatever the next level is for you and the impact that we're here to make with our voices and with our success, with the money that we are here to make, with the resources we are here to gather, and to do it while we feel good. To do it while we feel filled with amazing energy, filled with vitality. We don't have to follow that model anymore of sacrificing our vitality, our joy, our turn on, what has us come most fully alive and be centered in the river of our health, our brilliance, our intelligence, in order to expand and evolve and deepen and grow our success. That's what I'm about. That is what I am committed to living. That is what I am committed to supporting us all and embracing on even more far reaching levels. And that is what we're going to be talking about here today. So, all right. So let me just ask some questions. I do want to ask some questions. All right. So here's my invitation to you. My invitation to you is that you're kind of like this on the keyboard. Okay. That we're like engaged. All right. So I used to be somebody who wanted to be all in, but was always kind of a little one foot out. Yeah. Just like I'm here, but I'm not on video. I'm here, but I'm not in the chat. I'm here, but I'm not engaging in the conversation with the event that I'm in or the thing that I'm going to do the training. I'm just like kind of observing, just playing it cool. But I kind of wondered, why was I not like, see people who are just like with their work or their impact or whatever. And I finally realized, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, I'm not like fully in. I'm not fully in. So when I started leaning in more and being like, okay, I'm going to be like at the chat, I'm going to be on the video, I'm going to be leaning into the conversation in the room, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when there's a part of me that's like, just stay a little bit back here. That's when things really take off, right? It's our full engagement. It's our full engagement is the thing. It's really the thing, always and everything. It's our freedom. It's the access. It's the doorway. So that's my invitation today. Be in full engaged so we can lean in, be involved in the chat. The first thing I want to know is are you excited to learn how to sell in a way that feels so good for you? How do you feel about this possibility? How does that make you feel? What comes up for you? What do you think about that? Right? What are we thinking about selling in a way that legit feels fun? That feels so good, right? Oh God, it's so in alignment. We just, oh God, it just is like, yes, this feels so good and easy and natural and wonderful. Oh yes, I'm seeing some yeses. Hell yes, yes, juicy. Ah, excited to hear some new perspectives. Great, because I got some. All right. Ready to activate my voice. Fun. So great. Okay, amazing. All right. Well, I'm so excited to have you here. So happy that we're on the same page. We're here to talk about something that I'm over the moon about. And here I want to tell you what my commitment is to you. Okay, so we're embarking. Today is day one of 21 days. I've never done a 21-day challenge. This is really new and awesome. Mm, Here's my commitment to you. My commitment to you in these 21 days. First of all, is to show up fully as a leader and a mentor for you. Second of all, is to over fucking deliver, give you so much value. Third, my commitment is to support you in forever radically transforming your relationship to sales, to selling, to the thing that is the lifeblood, the pulse, the heart, the heartbeat of your business is sales, right? We don't do sales, you ain't got no business. You might think you have a business, but maybe it's a hobby, right? When we are selling, this is the heartbeat of our work. It is the action of the pulsation of the transaction, right? The blood comes into the heart, the blood comes out, right? It's the transaction. It's where the love gets transacted. It's where the magic happens. It's where the alchemy happens. And it's the epicenter of growth and expansion. I want for you to have an absolutely transformed relationship to sales so that you can go out there and just absolutely fucking rock it, right? Your wisdom, your brilliance, your teachings, your offerings, your products are so needed. Again, I know who I'm talking to. I am talking here to a hotbed of powerful, potent, transformative ideas and perspectives in this group that is only going to take our world higher. I know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. And I want to see you go out there and make so much money from your work. Even if you're like, I'm comfortable at X amount, whatever it is a month, but you feel that nudge inside, like, I want more. I know I'm called for more. I know I'm called to more, but I'm also not willing to sacrifice feeling exhausted or burned out, right? I'm not willing to do it in a way that feels manipulative or pressured. It feels bad for me. I'm not going to do things that don't feel good for me. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you have standards. We should all have standards. And today I want to share with you a process, and we're going to really put it into action in the next 21 days of exploring and learning about a way of doing sales that can feel so good for you that expansion happens with so much greater ease, that you can go to those next levels of income feeling awesome, right? In every way, that you can expand the reach of your work and really fulfill on the calling and the commitment that you have made to life for the sacred work that lives inside of you. I want to see that for you. I want to see that for all of us. So that's my commitment to you. All right. So you come out of this and you're like, sales is so fun. I can't wait to go sell. All right. You're going to be selling while you're in this program, but that's it. That's it. And that this will serve you for the rest of your life, right? Or everything you do. So that's my commitment to you. I see something happening in our world now. I imagine all of you see it too. But I'm gonna spend a little moment here naming it. Women are evolving. Aren't we amazing? Isn't this a crazy pants time? Isn't it bananas? There's so much happening again that is just like how, I- what, and at the same time, all this like extraordinary things are happening. And one of the most scintillating, exciting, phenomenal things that are happening is the evolution that's happening with women. That we are really evolving and stepping into an experience of being a woman that is unlike anything the planet's ever seen. Wow. And that And that this party in so many ways is just amping up. And what I see is this, to me, it comes to me in dreams. Sleeping in my land about a couple months ago, I woke up and it was just like I could just see it. I started writing and channeling all this. And then to me, like the words that I'm giving to this, it's like this new queen. It's this woman who is so sovereign herself. She knows herself, right? She is rich in wisdom, right? Who here, you can put it in the chat. Who here has a whole bunch of like hard-earned wisdom inside of them? And I have a feeling that this community has so much hard-earned wisdom going on in here. You all are just got diamonds. You got diamonds inside. Everyone, yes, everyone, everyone. That's this community. That's who we are, right? We are the ones who are the deep alchemists. We're taking the wisdom, and I know if you're here, you're called to be sharing that wisdom, right? You know how, like, you have a deep knowing, how valuable that wisdom is. Yeah. And we're called to spread it and expand it, right? So the new queen is rich in wisdom. The new queen is rich in vitality. We are all taking so much care of ourselves. This is one of our highest values in this community. I know of these women because we are awake. We know that our life force really is the river of the truth of who we are. That's who we are, right? Vitality, vitality. We are doing all the things. We are not willing to play that game anymore where there was so much work and self-sacrifice of our vitality. We're over it. We're done. That game, that ship has sailed. No more. We are playing a new game that is rooted in sanity and health and vitality. So we know, we sense, we feel that like if we deepen into our vitality, we will naturally expand and evolve. And so too does our work, right? So too does our work. So we are women who are rich in vitality and value cultivating vitality. Never again will be sacrificed. So many of us have already gone through that whole thing where we did sacrifice it, and we had to learn. I did, I was like, oh, this don't work. Like this ship don't sail if mama is exhausted. So we better make sure mama is feeling great, right? So that's it. We are rich in vitality. The new queen is rich in vitality. And the new queen is rich in resources. The new queen is rich in wealth, financial wealth, accumulation of resources, right? Investments, cash, land, right? We are rich in resources. We all know what happens when women of wisdom have money. Great things, for her and for her family and for everyone, right? We need more and more and more and more and more and more and more rich, wise women. Who here agrees with that? Who here sees the truth that if there is one deep thing to focus on in this world, it is to support more women of wisdom in becoming wealthy, right? Not just comfortable, but wealthy. Yeah, yeah. Put that in the chat. Do you resonate with that? Do you see that truth? What are your feelings about that? Yep, yep. Great. I'm seeing here. That's right. Oh, I love this, Marian. Yes, we're here to be role models of the new recipe 3.0 emerging way. I love that. Of whole success, including magnetize, monetize. It's been coming to me as a revolution of joy. Whew, I feel it. I feel it. Oh my God, if sales could be fun, it'd be a miracle. I love that. All right, let's see here. What is everybody? Oh, I love all this. Women in leadership will repair the world. Yes, absolutely. Wealth is freedom and beauty and ease and sharing. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's right. And so it said healthy masculine too. Well, that in order for us to experience the fullness of the queen, she is sovereign in her feminine and her masculine energy. She owns it, both. She's an artist of her feminine and her masculine. She is integrated. Yeah. So this is what we're here to play with. All right, we're on the same page. Yes, to Rich Wise Women. Excellent. We are in the right place. If you don't believe that it's like only the deepest blessing for Rich Wise Women to be here, and that's not what you're interested in, then this probably isn't the call, but I have a feeling everybody here is on the same page. That's right. Wealth wants to flow through us all. Love that. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to be selling to you. I'm going to be making offers in these 3 weeks. How does that make you feel? Let's get honest for a minute. When I say that to you, what do you feel like honestly inside? I see some thumbs up. People are like, "Yeah, sell to me. I want to see it. I want to feel it." Some people are like, "Oh, oh God, so rude. You know, uncomfortable, nervous." Thank you, Carrie, for being honest. Nervous. You feel nervous. Nervous. Titillated. Ooh, I love that word. Titillated. Glad you're showing up strong. Thank you. Scared because I always buy when you sell. Yeah. Okay. So good. So there's a spectrum, right? Some of you may not even be responding because there's just like, I gotta get out of here. This is really, she's going to be selling. This is just a sales thing. Right? Uncomfortable, nervous, worried maybe you might be pressured, a little scared, titillated, excited, neutral, right? There's awkward at first. Yeah. Right? A part of me feels manipulated like I'm a sucker, duped. Ah, yes, that's the thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for being so real. That's what we can't work with the stuff unless we're honest about what actually comes up. So I so appreciate it. All right. Like, oh, what a waste. Oh, sale, waste of time to listen. Yeah, good. I love that. Okay, so this is so great. All right. So this feeling inside, right, is actually the gateway, right? This really brings up actually in so many ways how we feel about sales, right? It's all welcome here. It is all welcome here. Whatever you're walking into this experience and this training with in your relationship to sales, how you feel about people selling to you or you feel about selling to others, it's all welcome here. And we're going to work with all of it. So I'm curious, in your honest assessment, if you sense it might be true that if you feel uncomfortable with someone selling to you, that maybe you feel uncomfortable selling, that there's a relationship there between the two, right? There's a relationship there between the two, right? And this is like medicine for us to work with, right? So the piece here about selling is that my hope and desire is that that there's a way you can get to a place where sales period so turns you on, whether you are being sold to with something that like oh, especially with something that you're like really turned on by, right? Or you are selling, that it ends up being something that you feel an embrace and an openness to, right? While knowing that at all times, let me tell you something about this space. What I am most deeply committed to in my life, in my work, and we're going to talk so much more about this because it's a huge part of what I'm going to be training you and some of the perspectives I'm going to be getting us into, is that the turned on sales is rooted in sovereignty and truth. Honoring what is true for the other person above all. Because we honor that the person that we're selling to knows most deeply is the one who knows best what's true for them. We're going to talk so much more about this, but sales as we've known it, that has been the thing that's been convoluted, right? That's where it gets pressure filled, feels bad, yucky. We worry that our truth is going to be overridden. We're going to do something that isn't true for us, right? And that often happens when you're being sold to by people who don't care about your truth. They care about just the sale, right? So this is what we're going to be so much exploring, this feeling inside, your orientation for it, and finding a way that the next time someone says, I'm going to sell to you, you're like, great, because you know and trust that you're going to choose what's true for you, right? No matter what. And on the other side, as the person who is selling, that when I say, I'm going to sell to you, I am saying that knowing that I'm going to be so anchored in my joy of selling no matter what you choose to do, no matter what, no matter what, because it's what has me come alive. It's my purpose, right? My offer is here. It's my medicine. It's my purpose, right? And that I trust that you are going to do whatever is true for you, right? And that maybe being in this exploration of truth, we're going to find incredible connection together, right? That will only lead to amazing things. So, we are going to be diving so deep into this. There's a level of liberation in sales that I want to support you in getting to so that you can go out there and be so anchored in what you are doing, the stand that you have, the medicine you have to bring, that whether someone says yes or no, it doesn't take you in or out of that state. That's freedom. All right. So we're going there. All right. Let me just check in here on the chat and see what's happening here. Um, Yes, that is what I miss, being grounded no matter what. As I sometimes seem to think too much about the other person. Thank you so much. Beautiful. All right, we're going to be going deep into that and helping you to have beyond the mental experience, but the actual body, emotional, energetic experience of that. All right, so I want to start by telling you a little story here. Okay, today is day one. And we're going on a ride these 3 weeks. Um, and I think that today is the day definitely to share you a bit more about my journey in my specifically through the lens of my relationship to sales. Okay, so I want to say that I've had a very deep, like probably so many of us, relationship to money. We all do, don't we? We all have a relationship to money, right? It's a profound relationship that we all have. I grew up with a single mom raising 3 kids on her own. I mean, the level of what she had to hold was, and you have to remember my mom. So in the decade my mother gave birth to me in the 1970s was the first decade where women were even allowed to like have credit in their own name. Like that's like not that long ago, right? You had to have a dude, a father, a husband, sign with you to even be trusted with money, you know? So my mom is like in the early 80s out there, she was like, a teacher early on. And then she was married to my dad for like 18 years or 20 years, I don't know, something like that. And had 3 children. And I was the last one. And when I was 2, they split. And my mom had to like figure it out. She had to figure it out. So I grew up in a home where there was a woman who was working so hard to fulfill her dream and provide for her children, and also grappling with no tools like we have today for how to deal with the intensity of all the conditioning that she'd been growing up with. I mean, her mother didn't have a job, and my grandmother, my mother's grandmother, my great grandmother, my mother's great grandmother was also, her husband died when she was a widow of 3 young children, single mom in Nacogdoches, East Texas. Like this word, like it's just like dirt. She grew up in like the dirt and had to provide for 3 kids. I mean, crazy. She died when my grandmother was 17. Like we all have some kind of lineage experience when it comes to being a woman and our relationship to money, right? We all come into this with all of that we're also, I am sure, in this group doing lots of different things to do deep healing work, ancestral work, really supporting our healing, our nervous systems, right? So this has been a decades long journey for me now. Really started in my 20s of looking at my relationship to money and grappling with like, oh my gosh, the intensity of the conditioning, right? There's so much. So I just want to bring that up just to say, if you're in the conversation of expanding your work and making a lot more money, you're a revolutionary. I mean, we're still like this is we are setting the landscape in our generation for what's to come for women to go gangbusters. The level of healing work that's happening for women right now is incredible, right? So so this has been a deep journey for me in exploring my relationship with money. Now, I was an investment banker for 5 minutes. I hated it. I came out of college, I did that because I thought that was, the cat's meow. That was what you were like that was like the best job. Well, it was the worst job for me, and I couldn't stand it. I was miserable. And I left that job not knowing how on earth I was gonna make it happen, but I will never forget that one morning when I was working in San Francisco, getting on the Fulton 5 bus. It was about 7 in the morning. I mean, I was just nauseous, going to this investment banking job. It was just the worst. And I wanted out. And I'll never forget this one morning. I was waiting at the bus and I looked up and there was this little crescent moon and Venus, the morning star, was in the sky right next to her. And I was flooded with this feeling, this inner knowing that if I just followed what really lit me up, what was really my joy, somehow things were going to be okay. And I could trust that feeling. And so, despite all of the naysayers around me in my life, I quit that job and I took off on a one-way ticket to Thailand, as we do, as many people do in their 20s. And I traveled the world for 5 years and I spent all of my money. I spent all of my savings. And then I was poor. I was very poor. I was so poor. And then I started having to like, be like, okay, I better not travel anymore. I got to like get a job. And I had all these entrepreneurial visions, right? I had all these entrepreneurial visions. I started a line, and some of you who know me might be surprised to hear this. I started I designed a skirt and I branded it. And it was a really great skirt. I even had a company license the skirt to sell it. And I called it K Colleen. That was the brand of, because Colleen's my middle name, K Colleen. That was the name of my skirt company. And I would sew all these skirts. I'm not quite a seamstress. It was like pretty simple stitching. And I would haul all these skirts down to the like artists market in Manhattan to sell my skirts. And I would stand there with my beautiful skirts and and sometimes I would sell one or two. I was so bummed. I was so bummed because I was like going to create this like skirt empire, and it was not happening. And I was so poor. And eventually I moved to Sedona. And actually, I was doing healing work. I had been trained and facilitated in some healing modalities, and I was doing healing work in Manhattan. And I had some workshops, and I had private clients. That was helping me, But it was like just enough. I was making just enough, right? So then I have this amazing experience, which is a story for another time. But I have this dream. I get called to Sedona, epic. I moved to Sedona. I'm living in Sedona. I'm living the dream. I'm living in the place where I've been called. And I'm trying to make it happen there. And I am so poor. Like, I can, I mean, I'm living in a shared house. It was like $600 a month. Like, sometimes I was just like terrified, absolutely terrified. I couldn't make the rent. And this is all while I am just visioning my heart out on the work that I wanted to do in the world. I mean, just writing all the time, and just content pouring through me, wisdom, creativity, all this, the visions. It was just such a disconnect between who I knew I was called to be and the life I'm called to become, and my living reality. It was like I just like was so poor. And so I needed health insurance, and I ended up going and getting a job at Starbucks. And some of you may have read my email about this, but I got a job at Starbucks. So I get this job at Starbucks and I have health insurance and I'm going up there and I'm like dying in this job, you know. I mean, I'm just first of all, I just know this stuff is just junk. And second of all, I'm making nothing. I'm making nothing. I'm like, how can I be making nothing? I'm so smart. I'm a smart person. How am I making pennies? I am not living into my potential. Period. I knew it. It was so painful. It was so painful. So I reached out to a girlfriend who I knew that worked at an art gallery, and I was like, okay. I messaged her. I was like, do you know of any jobs? Like, I really need a job where I can make way better money. She was like, well, I'm actually having an opening at our art gallery. She was like a landscape photography gallery. It's called Eclectic Image in Sedona. It's lovely. And so I go in for an interview, and they love me. I interview really well. So they love me. They're like, "You're hired." I'm like, "Great. What's the pay?" And they're like, "Oh, well, it's 100% commission." And I'm like, "What? You've got to be kidding me." I am terrified. I remember I went home, I just cried. I cried and cried. I was so scared. I was so scared. I was so scared. It's like, I don't know how to sell. And oh my God, so uncomfortable. I have to sell. And if I don't make sales, I don't eat. Like I thought I could just get some, salary. And if I made a sale here or there, but at least I'd have a salary. I'm like dying inside. I'm so scared because I don't know how to do it. I'm so scared I'm not going to be able to eat and pay my rent. And it just brings up all these survival fears. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to die. So I go in the first 2 weeks, they train me how to sell. And they have a book, right? It's called Sell with Your Heart. And they train me from the book. And it's a nice system. It's a nice system. It's probably one that a lot of, is kind of a basis that other training programs and sales programs have evolved from in the conscious business space. But it's just kind of the standard, like you have a script and here's how you handle objections. And so I start practicing and I go in and that first 2 weeks, it was terrifying. I mean, just oh my God, just thinking back on it, I was so terrified, talking to people. Like, what if I sound like an idiot? How do I approach people? I feel so uncomfortable approaching people, you know? Like, we had this thing where you have a clicker and you can like show them the change of the lights on the Grand Canyon. It's like a really neat thing. That was kind of my shtick, it's like, oh, you want to see the Grand Canyon on fire? Okay, here. And then, so that was like that was like my in. And then if they liked it, then I'd see it. But I was so scared. And how do you then get to the point with their objections? And how do you handle that? And you close the sale. Oh, but I made my way through those first 2 weeks and I made like 800 something dollars. It was astounding. I could pay my rent and have a little to eat. It was so great. I was so excited. And then I started feeling a little more comfortable. It's like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. All right. And then something started coming through for me of like, well, I'm going to follow this script, but I'm going to like innovate on this a little bit to make it more like I'm having fun. Like I just want to have more fun with people, you know? And it started taking on a life of its own. And I got into this thing. I got to tell you, I couldn't wait to get up in the morning and go to the art gallery. I'd go for my morning hike and I'd be like, all right, we're going to sell. And I get so excited and I go in and sell. And I got so into this thing, like the endorphins. Is it endorphins or dopamine? One or the two gets released in very high amounts. Somebody please clarify in the chat when you're making great money and it starts coming in. Someone, please, is it endorphins or is it dopamine that gets released? I would really love to know because I think I'm getting it confused in my brain. But anyways, I must have some kind of chemical thing going through because it feels so good. Both, great. Both chemicals. It's so good. So I'm high on both. And I'm making so much money, having so much fun. I made over $4,000 on my next paycheck. I was ecstatic, life changing, right? I moved into my own fabulous little like studio apartment. It has this epic view from the window of the rocks and buy new clothes, got my car fixed, and I went on a big trip. I went to Burning Man for the first time. It's very expensive to go to Burning Man. My life changed. My life changed. My sense of what's possible for me in this world really changed. Like things started to turn. Hmm. And I was there for a while, say making bank, cash, having fun. But I'm such an entrepreneur. I'm such a visionary. Like, you just can't stop this girl. So I I go and I'm like, start thinking, what if I what if I actually applied this to something that is like really my mission? I mean, I love photography, but this is not my life purpose. And but then it was like I had to go on the quest to really get clear, like, what am I really here to do? And in 2010, that became very clear for me. That became very clear for me. A lot of you know my story about my work with women's voices. So I'm not going to go deep into that part of it today, but I got locked in on my purpose and my vision in the deepest possible way. I made a commitment. I married my vision. I made a commitment to going full out for 1 year, supporting women and unleashing the brilliance of their voices. And that year was a miracle year. It was a miracle. I was making consistent 5-figure months. I didn't even have a website. I had no website. I had no email list. I was doing it just because I was out there telling people what I stand for. This is my vision. Loud and clear, no apology, my full heart, my full passion, and fucking care what people thought about me because the mission was too important to turn the volume down on something so beautiful. And I began attracting people to me, right? Just from getting up and speaking on any stage. There was 10 people, 20 people, 30 people. It didn't matter. A dinner party, I was speaking and sharing my message. I was doing it through spoken word performance poetry. I was doing it through speaking and just authentically connecting and sharing my vision and my stand and what I am for women. And it was like people just started coming in. They just started coming in and word began to spread, word of mouth, right? It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And then it was time for me. Hold on. I dropped my pen. I like to hold things. Actually, I'm going to switch. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not going to switch. I do have my wand here in case you're on the pre-party. I decided to hang on to it. I think it's important to always have a wand handy. So the first time I decided I was going um, to lead a group program. All right. So I've been doing all this private work up the schwazoo. It was fabulous, and then I had all these people who believed in me, all these women who came in who were like speaking at TED, not just TEDx. I mean, we're talking like the main stage, right? Or TEDx San Francisco, one of the biggest in the world, like these women who just, this is where women are like epic for each other, right? They are women who were older than me, who saw me, and they start telling everybody about me. This is women at their best, right? We're always referring like my favorite restaurant, my favorite skincare. Tell them about your favorite woman. You know, it was so amazing, right? I had these champions in my corner who believed in me. It was amazing. And so I roll into the fall and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my first group program. I see all these people on the internet, leading courses. And I was watching Marie Forleo. That was one of Marie's like early B school students. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So I started a program called Speak Up for Your Business. If you've done Speak Up for Your Business, will you put it in the chat? Because I know I have some Speak Up for Your Business ladies here. Okay, so I am so stoked. I'm going to start my first online program. But remember, I didn't have a website, I didn't have an email list. So how was I going to do this? Well, I was like, I guess I just invite women to join it. And I'm going to invite the most inspiring women that I've seen out there to join this program because I know I can help them go even further. I want to work with them because their message turns me on. So I started DMing people on Facebook. Hi, I really believe in your message. I think you're just so magnetic. And I actually have a way that I think I can really potentially support you in like reaching more people. Would you like to talk about it? And they're like, yeah. So I had all these calls. Within like 2 weeks, I had 20 women enrolled. They paid $1,000 each. My first $20,000 program. I was so over the moon. No website, no email list, old school. There's like people like all about, market. I mean, you can do all some amazing stuff on the internet these days, but don't forget the power of just reaching out to somebody. I mean, few people do it now. It's a competitive advantage. So I filled that first program. It was amazing. After that, I took that money and I got myself a website for $2,000 and I started building an email list. And oh my gosh, that was in 2011, 14 years ago. Gone on to do a lot of things since then. I've made millions of dollars. So for many years, I'll mention this briefly, for many years, from 2011 to 2016, 15, 16, I was running a personal brand under my name, Casey Baker. All my teachings, practices for public speaking, supporting women's voices, speech writing, right? Did just, epic, epic things, all kinds of launches, big events. I mean, there's so many things I could say. And at some point, I'm sure I'll share so much more about some of these experiences when I learned and how to support you. But I, in 2015 or 2013, I had my son. And some of you know this story, but I had this calling to spread my teachings to more women to take on as their own. It was a profound calling that surprised me. It happened right after I gave birth. And I knew I needed to pass on my teachings and that I wanted to do something so much more and have a personal brand. I was here to create a movement. I was here to really shift culture. That I'm not like I'm here to really shift culture, you know? I'm not here to just like lead some online courses. Like I'm here to shift culture and hopefully make it so that my work is no longer necessary because women feel freed up to share their voices. That was my business plan. People are like, what's your 100-year business plan? To be out of business because I'm no longer needed. That's my plan. That was my plan. So I go in and I went on this epic journey to create Woman Speak. And we've trained hundreds of women around the world. We have supported tens of thousands of women and their voices and feeling greater freedom to share their voices. I'm so proud of the work that we've done, which, by the way, I am going to be teaching a masterclass during this 21 days towards the end called Movement Making Magic. And if you know that your message, it's so much more than a message, it's a movement. Like you're here to lead a movement. You're here to really shift culture with your ideas and your wisdom. I would love to have you be at that masterclass. There's a way to do that of just affiliating and sharing the link to this program here, to this free training online. If you get two people to sign up for free, it's free. Under your affiliate link, you'll get access. All right. So you can email support@womanspeak.com if you want to attend Movement Making Magic, get the affiliate link, do a few simple shares. That would be epic to have you there. I want to train all of you and have a move because also, guess what? When you have a movement, it's magnetic. People want to be part of the movement. It is infinitely easier to make epic sales when you have a movement, period. And I want to teach you the distinction between having a message and having a movement and how to really spread it so that other people take your message on as their own and help you scale. All right. So that's that. I would love to have you there. All right. So that's an amazing story. But the story I really want to tell you today, because there is something that I learned in it that changed me forever. Right. So it's like in the business realm, done epic things, made millions of dollars. There's just so much epic stuff that we've done over the years. But the story I really want to tell you because of what it taught me in my heart that allowed me to teach what I teach to you. I'm going to teach to you today is the story of how I got my house. All right. So in 2015, well, let me start by saying I had a picture of this gorgeous rock, cathedral rock with the creek in front of it. It's the most iconic image of the American Southwest. There's an image that is taken from the backyard of a little house in Sedona that there are more pictures of this view than there are even of the Grand Canyon. It is the most famous spot in Sedona. It's where all the weddings happen and the ceremonies, and it is considered the feminine energy vortex. You have all of like a lot of the Magdalene devotees who come through and recognize that energy there and the resonance that it carries with other sacred sites connected to the Magdalene energy there. You have people Native American. This is just such a profoundly special place for thousands of years in original Americans culture. And it's so special and it's so beautiful and the energy is so amazing. And when I first went to Sedona, it was like dun dun dun, hardcore, in love, one of the deepest experiences of love I've ever known. And I had this picture that was taken by the photographers at the landscape photography gallery I worked at. That's where I got it. This little picture is like a 16 by 20. I still know all of my measurements here of photography. And it was above my altar for 10 years. And I prayed in front of it every day. And when I got separated in 2015, I went away for a few days to really figure out um, everything. Wow, I'm about to be a single mom of a 2-year-old. Holy shnikes. Okay, I got to get my financial world together. And I started reading Tony Robbins' book, Money. If you haven't, I highly recommend it, especially because of the first couple of chapters, where he takes you through a process of getting really clear on the actual numbers, like how much money you actually need to have the lifestyle you actually want when you're like 60, 70. What is it actually going to take? Actually take financially, and really takes you through getting clear on what do you want? Like, what do you want in the next few years of your life? What do you want for your elder self? What quality of life, and putting numbers to it. Profound experience. And I can't say enough about the magic of putting the pen on paper with numbers to get that kind of clarity and how reality shifts, as you will hear. So I started doing that process, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to have massages, and I need to have like all organic food, and I need to have this, and I need to have that, and I want to take trips with my family. But in terms of like material things that I want, there's only one thing. I want to live right there at Red Rock Crossing in that little house. I want that land. And really, that's the only thing I want. I just want that to be my home. And interestingly enough, in 2010, when I started dating my son's father, we went to Sedona for the first time, and I stood on the banks in front of that little house, and I said, this is my one dream. I just want to live here. I want to own this little home one day. So that house has been owned by one family since the 50s. And before that, it was the Sedona Water Company. It is actually property that has enormous water reservoirs underneath it. So it is very valuable in Arizona. And this one family lived there, and this one woman, Patricia Varnell, and raised her 4 boys there. And then she lived there for forever. And they had never been for sale before. And anyways, I wrote this down, this whole thing down, this vision, these Tony Robbins plan. And I was like, well, maybe I should just look on Zillow. So I picked up my phone, I sat on the couch, and I just looked on Zillow just to see. I was just curious, how much does a house like that cost? And it had gone for sale the day before. Ah, it had never been for sale before. I was just like, the internal experience, I will never be able to find the words. Explosions inside of me. Just absolute, like, what this meant to be. So I call my mom, and she's like, oh my gosh, because she knows she's a total, just loves this land too. And so I then call the real estate agent, and his name is Roy Grims, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, like, it's already under contract. We had over 40 offers come in just a matter of hours. Like, it's already, and I was like, how can this be? You don't understand. This is my home. And he's like, this crazy person. And I mean, what happened in that moment is why I'm teaching what I teach you here today. It was the simultaneous experience of despair, and absolute ecstasy of the vision of maybe it still could be. And I remember I called my son's father, David, and I told him what happened. And I just love him so much already. But this is just one of those things that etches him forever to my heart, is what he said. He said, keep the faith. And so I proceeded to lean in to the ecstasy of what I was letting myself dream. Women gathering on my land, the ecstasy of being on my land in community with my son, with my family, the feeling, letting myself go there fully, of just like ecstasy, joy, turn on, love, letting myself, my vision just open wide. and then calling Roy Grimm's every day. I called him every day. Hi, Roy. Oh, hey, Casey. Still under contract. I'm like, okay, just checking. And then he got to know me and he got to know my story. I have an amazing story about Sedona and being called there and my giving birth to my son there. And just the story is so deep. And and uh and then I traveled to Sedona because I was like, okay, I got to go talk to the land, you know? I mean, I know it's under contract, but I'm feeling this. And I go to the land and I'm like, okay, listen, if you want me to steward this land, I will do it. And if not, then I let it go. And I felt peace. I felt peace while simultaneously turning myself on with the vision and knowing it could not happen. And so this, I believe that moment is the moment something shifted. When I allowed myself to feel attached and trust. Trust. And a few days later, I am literally standing in front of a class leading Woman Speaks Work. I'm leading my first ever branded Woman Speak live event in San Francisco. And it's on the break. And I go to my phone and I pick up my phone and there's a text message from Roy Grimm. And he says, Casey, the contract fell through. I am calling you first. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I've been shared about it with all my students. We did like I had a spontaneous group collective prayer because here was the prayer now. How on earth was I going to pay for this house? Now I am a newly, let's reality check this. I had just had my baby 2 years before and had stopped doing group programs like about 6 months after my son was born because it was just too much for me at that time. And so I do private work. So I was making good money, but it was not money that can buy a $500,000 property, right? I also did not save money at that time in my life. So I did not have any savings. That's another conversation for what is no longer the case, but how it used to be for me. So I had no idea how I was going to do this, but I knew it was in my hands. And so I then proceeded to become outrageous. And it was the ultimate internal stretch because every part of me was like, don't you dare ask people for money to buy your house. Like that's, don't people, you do not do that, right? That's bad. That is like, no, like the shame I felt about what if they say no and think horrible of me for asking, the fear of not making it happen. Like there was no money coming from family. I had to work this out and I needed to make a down payment in order to secure this home in 48 hours. Now, the first thing is that I knew that if I could get the down payment, I still had to pay for the rest of the house and I wouldn't qualify by myself for this loan. So I had to go to my ex-husband and say, well, soon separated. We were separated, like getting a divorce. And I'm like, will you go in on it with me? And he was like, I will. I will help you. And I am so, because he knew that was my wonder. And he's a believer in magic. He loves magic. And, he's an entrepreneur himself. He loves magic. And so he was like, okay, let's make this happen. This is too magical. We got to make this happen. So I knew I had to come up though with the down payment. So I go out to raise $75,000 and I had to do it in 48 hours. Right. So I proceed to make a list of about 100 women. And that one morning, I got up and I called all of these women asking if they would either loan me money or prepay for private speech writing work. And I, in less than 7 hours, raised $75,000 from women. The women came together for the dream, right? To protect this sacred land, to make sure it is held by someone in our community. This is one of those like blue chip sacred properties on the planet. We got to make sure like it is stewarded, you know? And so we did it. And I thought, oh my gosh, huge moment. Oh my gosh, huge. So then we're thinking, okay, it's gonna be pretty easy from here. We'll get a loan and David and I will work it out later and I'll get refinancing and, pay him back and all that. Well, we get denied 4 times because he owns way more than 25% of his company. I own more than 25% of my company, and we are considered a high risk. For 4 months, this family, the Patricia Varnell, her sons, like she passed away, and her sons, I think that they just knew that I was like her mom. Like I went to their house and there were all these pictures and paintings there. And I went through them all, and all the paintings and pictures were all images of Cathedral Rock. She was a deep priestess of Cathedral Rock. And I think they knew that I was too. And so they kept extending the closing for me. And every time we got rejected from some lender, it was like a knife in my heart, ladies, like the despair that I went to, couldn't get out of bed. Profound despair. How could this be? This is my dream. It is right here. It is right here. How could I lose this? The despair was so much. I even had someone say to me, if it's this hard and it doesn't come easily, it's probably just not meant to be. Something better will come along. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Because there was no way by the end of those 4 months, I'll never forget it. I mean, it was just devastating. And I had to keep coming back in order to stay in action and keep moving forward. I had to keep coming back to plugging myself in to the energy of the vision. And that is what it took for me to do what I had to do, what I was terrified to do, absolutely terrified. Everything in my conditioning was screaming for me to not do this. I ended up 4 months in, the family says, and by this time I'm paying their mortgage. They say, we're so sorry. In 3 days, the contract is up. We have a buyer who's willing to pay cash. And I'm so sorry. We have to sell it. I was just, it was one of the most excruciating times of my life. And I knew that I would have to do outrageous things that I felt so scared to do because of my fears of all the fears, all the fears of what if they think I'm a jerk? What if I get rejected? What if it doesn't happen? What if me asking for enormous amounts of money from people is like people see me as just horrible and desperate and an idiot and they say no and then they think terrible of me. Like, what if I make a fool of myself? What if I fail? It was so deep. But I had to keep coming back to plug in to the vision, to the joy, to the love, to the belief, and literally feel it run through my body to be able to do what I needed to do, which was pick up the phone and call this one man who had been a lover of mine sometime before, who had dumped me and was now back with his ex-girlfriend, but had known about my journey and really loved and felt my experience with Elaine. I knew he was a deep earth protector. He's like a big VC in the clean energy space. So I call him and I am plugged into that energy while tears are streaming down my face. And I am like, I asked for support. And he said, yes. He said, but I had like 48 hours to make this happen. And he said, but I don't have the ready cash because I just paid out a bunch of money to investments I have. So if you can find two other people, I'll be the guarantor on the loan and I'll pay them back in 6 months. And then you and I will just have the loan between us. And then when you refinance in a couple of years, you can pay me back. It's like, okay. So then I had to pick up the phone and call another man that I hardly knew. But I knew he was a wealthy person and I knew he was a protector, like a deep earth protector. And I called him, and in a conversation that lasted for 90 seconds, he said, yes, I have $150,000 I can contribute to you for this, and I can wire it today. I was like, oh my God. But I still had to get all the rest of the money. So then I had to plug in again to this energy, to my stand, to my vision. I called another man that I hardly knew who also had a lot of money and also was a deep earth protector. And that conversation lasted only 60 seconds. He said, great, I'll wire the funds today. And that's how we did it. And in 3 days, 2 days, all the money came in. We had things worked out. And I signed my name on the dotted line. And I became the new stewardess of the Cathedral Rock Sanctuary. And that is how it happened, ladies. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And then this property is going to be the greatest. I mean, it's been like there's so many things. I'm not going to get too much into it, but like how could I have known that I would go through a season a few years later where my son needed a lot of support and I was able to take that property, I had to move to Scottsdale and make like, I mean, we're like one of the most successful Airbnbs in Sedona. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews. And I make, really nice, like ample six-figure income every year from it, just on repeat. And this, what I want to share with you about that experience leads into one of the big things that I want to really dive in and talk with you about today. It's about the truth of the inward stretch inside of us, right? That when we are doing brave things to grow our work and to share our messages and to sell people into what we're doing, it brings up all the things. It brings up all the things. I know this so well, so deep. And part of the art is learning how to meet the intensity of all of the challenging feelings and plug in anyway into this river of our vision, this river of our knowing of the value of what we have to offer, our joy, our turn on. And when we do that, when we learn to exercise that muscle, there are no bounds to what is possible. You have the energy to do brave shit on far reaching levels. You become magnetic. You become absolutely magnetic. So this is what we're going to be diving into today so much is on the energetics and the mindset to help you truly feel free, to feel free, to go out there and sell and spread your work and invite people in, even when it feels intense, right? But to know that you have a home inside yourself where all of that intensity can be met in the deepest river of self-love, right? And guided by turn on. This is where we graduate. This is where we graduate from being good girls to being women. This is it. Women hold the vision. Don't we all know that's true? We hold the vision. We are the vision holders. But why would life give us the incredible gift of being vision holders and not give us also the incredible gift of being fabulous enrollers into the vision? We were meant to be fabulous enrollers into the visions of what we see possible for the world, what we see possible for other people. This is who we're meant to be. It is only the patriarchy. It is only conditioning. It's only a bunch of ancestral conditioned bullshit that has absolutely nothing to do with the truth of who we are, that has us believe that that's not for us, right? We're just going to let it all come to us. I'm just going to sit like an egg. I'm just going to sit like an egg and let everything I want come to me. Well, yes, we can have that, but that egg, let me tell you something, has a voice, right? We have a voice, and the voice is in service to the vision, right? Our birthright is to use this voice to enroll people into our visions for the world, our visions of what we see as possible. Our birthright is to gain resources, to bring in value in exchange for what are the gifts that we have to offer. This is ours to claim. And it does take shifting our mindset, and it does take shifting how we relate to it all energetically. And my deepest, it's not only my desire, it's my job. It's my job. Like the divine has given me a job. The divine literally has said to me, and the divine is not something outside of me. This is the truth of my deepest heart that beats through all time and every form I take, guiding my life. And this voice says to me, your job is to help women accumulate wealth and resources. That's my job. So I want to make sure I do a really, really, really fantastic job. And my job today is to support you in my deepest hope and learning how to find that stretch within yourself and stabilize. In these 21 days, I want to support you in stabilizing in this energy of being so fully in your turned on, plugged in, full force joy and value of what you have to offer, who you are, what you stand for, what you know your work can make possible for people. And to get out there and go gangbusters with it, because we need you. And really, we need more than just your wisdom. We also really actually need you to be a woman who has resources and wealth, right? So 1:11 on the clock as you speak. That's right. It's time. It's time. Let's do this. Okay. How you feeling? Let's do a check-in. How you feeling? How you feeling? God, are you excited? Are you getting excited? Are you getting excited? What are you feeling legit? Maybe you're not excited. Maybe this is really like not that. I want to hear it. What's the state of affairs over there for you? Put it in the chat. All right. I thought it said no, I'm offended, but she meant affirmations. Feeling goosebumps, relaxed, lit up, so helpful, inspired, curious, nervous, love, 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 moved, both excited, whole, and afraid, still afraid. Great. Your fear is welcome here. Inspired, grateful, feeling so much possibility. Okay, beautiful. All right. Okay. So give me one moment here. I wrote notes for you all. Let's see here. Okay. So sales. Sales is the deepest form of leadership, right? It's really where the rubber meets the road, right? It's now we're not just talking. We're no longer just talking. We're putting it into action, right? This is real women. We're doing this now, right? Sales is leadership, right? And it it is in its most pure raw form. That is what sales is, right? And in call two, just so you know, next Tuesday we're going someplace epic where I'm going to be teaching you a literally something you can use. It's not a script, but it is a method of actually putting into your sales conversations, right? Putting those conversations into practice. You're going to love what I'm going to teach you. It's going to change forever how you do sales. My clients who learn this, they're just like, oh my God, this just, just makes it feel so good and easy, right? And it works. So that's coming, but we have to start first with the energetics and the mindset here in order to really have that be effective, right? And it's similar to what I teach in public speaking. So I teach that, really like what makes someone an absolute legend, right? And they're speaking, like goes beyond just being a speaker. They go in the realm of like wisdom teacher, legend, right? It is that combination of both transformative, awesome content and essence. But the reality is you need both. You got to have both. And when you have the marriage of both, right? But the truth is that essence totally trumps epic content because you could have the most amazing content and you could stand on a stage, and if people can't feel you, it's flat. But you could stand on a stage and not say a word and just radiate and connect and transmit. And you can open that entire room. It is a opening. It is an experience unto itself. Same thing in sales. All right. So we're going to be really focusing on the most important part today, which really is your energy. It really is your mindset and way of being with it. All right. So sales is something where we practice self-leadership. This is part of the secret of what makes you boundless in your work is self-leadership. And that means that you are out there leading, you are out there offering, you are out there speaking, you are out there selling without knowing, without the guarantees of what's going to happen. We're all looking for the guarantees of what's going to happen. But that's a trap, and it keeps us small. We are outsourcing our power to other people all the time. All the time. We're waiting for permission. We're waiting for validation. We're waiting for the okay. The self-leadership is what has us say what is getting created in reality. We say, you say, I say, I say, I say, I'm going to create a worldwide movement of circles of women speaking, teaching my practices. I didn't know if people were going to think that was a good idea or not. I had no idea if people were going to join it and want to do it. I had to lead that puppy without knowing guarantees. All I had, all I had, all I had was my vision. The vision is everything. Your vision is your superpower. The more you lean into your vision and get high, get fucking high off your vision, the more freedom you have, the more power you have, the more self-leadership you have, right? That's it. That's it. It's not, I have a vision. Oh, somebody didn't like it. Somebody said no. Or my dad doesn't like it. Oh, no, that's the young daughter. That's the little girl. We love her. She's looking for a home out there and everybody's approval. No, we got to bring that girl home right here. This is where she belongs. She belongs right here, no place else. We got to wipe away that confusion. Her validation, her worthiness doesn't live out there in other people's opinions. No, lives right here. This is her home. This is self-leadership. We are not walking around confused anymore. All right? Looking for the big okay out there. And the okay is right here forever of her, of you, in your heart. It's the only okay she's ever actually going to understand. Right? All the rest out there is smoke and mirrors. So self-leadership is knowing that there are going to be times when you are doing brave things and you are showing up to sell on stage, or you are leading a launch like I have been doing, and you don't know how many people are going to sign up, and you don't know, and you have a call in, or you have a sales call and that person says no, and you just go into a river of contraction, which is so human. Self-leadership is loving that pain, loving those fears of rejection, loving those intense feelings of humiliation. I've been there. Oh my God. If you've ever seen my TEDx talk, you know what I mean. It was terrible. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't me. Afterwards, I felt so humiliated, ladies. I wanted to die. I wanted to die. I wanted to crawl in a hole, never put my face out in the world again. I was so humiliated. Why did I give a talk like that? Why was I just so performed? Like, what? Oh, I was hating on myself. And then I had to be like, no, because guess what? There are so many women out there who are feeling the same feeling about some talk they gave. And what do I think about them collapsing in forever on themselves and never showing their voice again? Because they had something they weren't so proud of at one time. I'm going to love this part that is humiliated and show up because I have a vision. I have a vision. It is my job to carry through that vision, even during times when I feel humiliated, even during times when I feel scared, even when I feel so scared. I take a beat, I take what I need to do your process work. And there are so many kinds of process work that we can get into, right? There's so many amazing modalities out there. There's, you know, I don't know. I mean, I have different ones that I've loved over time. There's, NLP, EFT, EMDR. Give me another acronym. Like there's so many amazing things that we can use and utilize, right? But ultimately, the commitment is that you feel it and you stay in the game. You stay in the game. That's self-leadership. That's the thing that throws most of us off. We have a really hard emotional experience. And then we tell ourselves we can't do it anymore, or it's too hard, or we start avoiding. We get busy with other shit. That's not self-leadership, right? So the number one thing is our
Right.
self-leadership. And I'm not sure who is unmuted. Angelica,
Yeah.
if you're here, would you mind muting that person? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So self-leadership, right? So when you're in sales, right, you become, this is my job is to support you, becoming the woman whose energy sells for her. And that self-leadership is felt when you're somebody who it's like people can see like she's real and she's unstoppable. That's integrity. I know I can count on her to show up even when times are hard. I go through hard times. I'm going to look to her for inspiration. That's mentorship, right? That's self-leadership. That's who people want to buy from. People want to buy from the person they know is going to continue to show up and evolve, right? It's magnetic. It's scintillating. It's incredible. It's inspiring. It's rare. It's rare, right? So the woman whose energy sells for her is rooted so deeply in her joy. Her devotion lives in what turns her on because she knows that her turn on is the river of her brilliance. It is the river of her vitality. It is the river of her wisdom. It is the river of her purpose. It is the river of her love. It is the river of her magnetism. It is the river of her life, right? When she lives from that place, from her turn on, that is the woman whose energy sells for her, right? When she communicates about what she has to offer, she is rooted so deep in the value of what she has to offer. She knows that when people come into her offer, into her world, blessings happen. Evolution happens. She knows that, right? She's not settling for anything less than offering what turns her on, that makes her come fully alive, that induces this deep sense of pride in her work. Yeah? You can't help but want to be around someone who is self-led if you are also on the path of evolving into your greatest potential, period. So let's all just take a moment. How does that land for you? What is being shared here? If there's anything that's being shared that is landing for you, is there any insight or anything that's being taught here that's like, yes, this is landing for me? Let's have just a moment of integrating because we're about to go into a really deep place here of some distinctions that I want to share with you. But first, let's just talk about what's landing. What's landing for you? What idea, what insight are you having? What realization are you having? What are you seeing for yourself? What are you feeling? All right. All right. Loving the description of self-leadership. Fabulous blessings happen when wise women are wealthy. Yes, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Beautifully said. Sales is leadership, the vision. Stay with it and never leaves. It's the power. Yes, being self-led is what I need to build for all of us. For all of us. Don't be discouraged so easily. Yeah, the commitment of self-leadership. I love that sales starts with my energy and devotion to service and my mission. Giving me goosebumps. Everything is landing. Become the woman whose energy sells for her. Yes, totally. Everything is landing so deep. So many gems I can't write fast enough. But big one is that your energy sells. Yes, totally. All right. Gorgeous. I'm so glad to see so many things are landing. This is just what I needed. That spoke to me so much. I think I need to feel the feelings and plug into the feelings more and work less. I keep trying to focus on working rather than feeling and being. Yeah, we need both. We need both. That's our superpower of our masculine and our feminine. That's how they come together, right? We root into all the feelings, we get juiced up, we feel, or we feel all the hard things and we love them and we bring them home, we stay in action. That's the marriage of our masculine and our feminine, right? Our output and our input energies, our yin and our yang, dancing together, right? All right. Okay. Here we go. We're going to talk now about really like how we shift from funkiness and fear and self-doubt and gripping onto control of the outcome, right? The neediness in sales, or the avoidance of it altogether, just not doing it because it's so uncomfortable, fear of feeling embarrassed, shame, right? Or there's that. And then there's also the state where you may be doing sales and you're actually pretty good at it, right? And but like you're like, I want more. How do I get to more? How do I go for like the really big dream? How do I really go for the next level of expansion? The key really lies in what we're going to be talking about here now. Okay. So there are 3 states in sales. All right. There are 3 states in sales. The first is the state of energetic contraction. Okay. Now, this is the domain where our relationship to sales can either be rooted in fear, right? Or we come into sales from a place of scarcity. There's a deep attachment to the outcome of needing to get somewhere. It's like that's the contracted state of sales, right? And there's a lot of different ways in which our behaviors show up in this contracted relationship to sales. It can show up as avoidance, just not selling, just not doing it. You're not doing it. You have big dreams, big plans. Money is not in the bank account, or is very little, or not enough, not as much as you know you could make. All right? There's avoidance, flat out avoidance. There's awkwardness where you're doing it, but it feels like painful, awkward, not fun, hard, crickets, challenging, right? There's a place in the contracted relationships to sales where you're disconnected from the value of what you're offering, right? It's about getting the sale and getting the money, and then there's like a very small amount or not at all of connection to the value of what you're offering, right? There's a lot of focus on how are they going to respond, or I need the money and I need the sale, right? And that is what's taking dominance in the contracted relationship to sales. And then there's control, manipulation, the use of pressure, and an underlying power dynamics in selling. So I want to talk about this. So in the contracted relationship to selling, right, this is for oftentimes people who sell, this is probably why sales feels so, excuse my language, shitty, is because there's an underlying power dynamic where the person who is selling is trying to get you to do something that you may not really want to do. right? Or they think that they know what you need more than you do. And so they're trying to undermine your sense of inner sovereignty and inner authority so that theirs trumps yours and you go their direction. This, unfortunately, is something I see a lot, even and especially in the transformational coaching world. The coach, the mentor, who has the vision for you, who knows what you don't know, knows what you don't see, right? And there's like a manipulation, a use of NLP and all this shit to get you to do the thing so they can make the sale, right? All in the name of, I'm going to change your life, right? But in the contracted relationship to sales, there's an undermining of the inner sovereignty of the person that's being sold to. Does that make sense? Yeah, I see someone saying here, cult mentality, guru power dynamic. Been there, done that. Yes, exactly. Yeah, totally. Okay, so the contracted relationship to sales is powered by, there's a power source in it that drives that whole energy. And it can be really effective. You can make a lot of money in the contracted relationship to sales if you are operating in that paradigm. It is powered by fear. It's powered by scarcity, and it's powered by an underlying control of others, right? Or attempt to, an underlying undermining of the sovereignty of the person being sold to, right? It's not rooted in truth, right? But it's effective. It really is effective, right? But we all know how much we hate walking into car dealerships most of the time, that kind of thing. Because you're going to get into this conversation, it just feels like a slog, ugh. So that is the contracted relationship to sales. Now, the second state that we have in sales is the neutral state. So this is actually where most sales happen, right? It's the realm of professionalism, right? And you're going through the motions. You have a great process. You got a great sales process for having the conversation and dealing with objections and really listening to people and closing the deal, right? It's neutral, right? What is not present in the neutral, and some people can have a lot of success in the neutral, right? They can have a lot of success. You can do, have a whole sales team, it's operating in the neutral. You can have pretty good close rates, in the neutral. But energetically, it's kind of meh. It's kind of meh. Because it is not rooted in passionate stand for the offer, right? Yeah, it is more about skill. Yes, Denise, great. It is more about skill. It's more about skills. It's where you're going to make great skills. This is why I'm not teaching you the thing I'm going to teach you on Tuesday first, okay? This is why we're doing this first, right? So we can be functional doing this, but it is not fun. Neutral sales, rooted in skill, very professional, not very fun. This might be where you might be feeling a little bored with things in your business or a little stale, even if maybe you're making, $30,000 a month consistently or $50,000 a month consistently. But you're like, God, what's next? You got a nice machine going, you got some sales team, you got yourself doing sales, it's working. But you're hungry. There's something inside you that's like, I know I'm meant for more. How do I get to more? Well, the secret to more lies in state number 3, the turned on sales. This is the third state. Okay. The third state. This is where we are powered by joy. We are powered by joy. We are powered by turn on. We are powered by deep connection and purpose. You're powered by a deep stand in the value of your message, in the value of your work, in the value of your offer, right? We are propelled by the love of the vision of what we see as possible for people. Should they go on this journey with us and invest in our offer, our product, right? We are powered by that, right? We are powered by what we see as possible for the other person, the joy of it, the love of it, the vision of it, right? We are generous. The energy of turned on sales is generous and the energy is brave, brave, self led, self led. Yeah. You're rooted. And I want to talk about some of the things that make turned on sales what it is, right? There's a few distinctions here, right? So, when we're in a state of doing turned on sales, we have broken the spell. We have broken the spell. We have broken the spell that we are living in a domain of scarcity. We have broken the spell that we are living in a domain of not enough. That is a lie. It is a lie and it is hurting everybody. And unfortunately, our culture runs on this lie on massive levels. But we are sane people. We are women who are plugged in to our vitality, plugged in to sanity. We know, I imagine everybody here, has been doing work to clear fear and scarcity from our system so that we're not operating from fear and scarcity, but we're operating from sanity, from love, from vitality. And this energy, the very truth of when we are in a state of turn on and we're awake in this, is that we recognize the inherent abundance of not only the realm we live in, but who we are. This is such a massively beautiful and important mindset shift, but it's more than a mindset shift. It is physical, it is energetic, it is a knowing deep, and as a Taoist teacher, I'll tell you, deep in our spleen, which is where the earth element lives, where we know and recognize we are in the realm of abundance, right? We have a healthy earth element, a healthy gut, like a healthy center. We know we're not coming and being powered by worry. We're powered by something that is healthy, connection to the abundance, trust. We are living in a state of trust. Trust that we are in a domain of infinite possibility and trust in ourselves to show up and lead no matter what. Yeah. This is the state we live in, the state of deep trust, self-trust, right? And the more that we cultivate a practice in our life of plugging into our turn on, of regulating our nervous system with our turn on. This is a deeper conversation I'm going to go 100% into right now. The more we do it, I'm going to teach you a simple practice today to plug in. The more that we do that, the more that we stabilize, right? In the energy of sanity, of health, of vitality, of abundance, of self-trust, of being in touch with our power to lead and create, to show up, right? This is the stabilization in ourselves. And it's really easy to get destabilized because maybe there's people around you in your life who are not living that way, right? Or the culture. I mean, just go on social media. I mean, the culture is that way. It is profound self-leadership to plug in every day to this river of turn on, to the river of abundance, to the river of self-trust, to the river of aliveness, to the river of vitality, right? To the river where your deepest purpose and vision lives and flows. That's self-leadership. That is the energetic that makes turned on sales really the heart of what it can be, right? So that's number one. In turned on sales, we are living in a state where you can have all the self-doubt and the fears and the resistance and the avoidance and all the stuff that can come up about sales or what happens after you have the sales conversation. Maybe it doesn't go the way you want, right? But we're in a state where all of those challenging emotions that come up have a home. They have a home right here, right? They have a home in this river of love, this river of turn on, this river of abundance, right? We're not leading from those energies, we're giving them a home. And then we're coming back into our self leadership, being responsible for what turns us on and generating from that place, leading from that place, loving, speaking, offering, and rolling from that place. There is no limit. In turned on sales, there's no limit. This is an infinite power source. If you are looking to explore the boundlessness of your impact, of what you can make, of what you can create, this is the place we come to find that energy and the ideas and the actions that come from that energy that lead to expansion, that lead to our evolution, that lead to this growing and growing and growing of our work, of our reach, of our money, right? That this is the in essence of turned on sales is limitless. Right? This is the realm where the new queen lives. The new queen lives in the realm of turned on sales, right? There's no longer the hiding, the being smaller, right? The doing just enough. And instead, we're living in this place where we're so connected. We're so connected to our vitality. We're so connected to our wisdom. We're sovereign. We own that shit, right? And who we be even naturally draws people to us. You add in speaking up for it, and it's boundless. This is the domain of the new queen, right? She lives in the domain of turned on sales. The new queen is not playing in the contracted sales games, and she is certainly not doing meh neutral. She wants more. She is fueled by her desire for more, and she trusts it, right? Enough of this conversation of like, and I know I've had to do a lot of work around this one of like, oh, you have too much. I've really had that it was a bit of an upper limit. If some of you read my story that I hit, right? Oh man, I got so much, right? Feeling guilty for having so much, all this stuff. Oh, it was a huge evolution for me and who I am as a woman. Is realizing is my nature is desire. And it is a blessing. It is a blessing. Yeah. So the new queen is operating from this place. She wants to live in turn. So as a matter of fact, she doesn't want to do anything else because the other stuff is a drag. The other states of selling are a drag. But when you're in this queenly state of like, I am owning my vitality, I'm owning my joy, I am owning my vision, I'm owning my purpose, I'm not going to settle for anything less, then we're in a state of expansion, right? We're in a state of going for who we're called to become, and we trust our turn on. A woman who is in this state, magnetic, magnetic. It's magnetic. Absolutely scintillating, magnetic, trustable. This is the energy of a true mentor, right? Someone who is really leading. Yes, our other sales are drag. Mm. So at the end of the day, what the new queen, what we all hear, and what really makes true, like turned on sales so effective and the heart of it is that it is anchored in truth. Remember I told you the bit about my story where I went to Sedona and I prayed and I said, look, if you want me to steward this land, I will do it. I'm ready. And if that is not in the highest expression of my life and for all beings, then I set it free, you know? And I'm here and I'm ready and I want it. And I trust and I set it free to be what it is that may be beyond even my understanding of the highest evolution. I trust. I live in truth. That's the essence of turned on sales. Turned on sales is being committed to what is true for the other person. what is true for the other person. We are going to talk so deeply about the magic of that. And in this method that I'm going to teach you next Tuesday, you are going to love what I'm going to teach you. If you're digging this, you're going to love what I teach you next Tuesday. All right. I mean, I'm going to blow your mind next Tuesday. All right. This is a big piece that's here. Right. But this is what makes Turned On Sales so amazing, is that we are unplugging from control. We are operating in the river of truth, which is where all of the beautiful things live: vitality, magnetism, abundance, wealth, expansion, evolution, all the things, right? And it's also what opens the doorway for you having epically effective sales conversations with people where you are talking truth to truth. And that's where you're going to make amazing sales. Right? It's amazing. It does work like that. We're not using it as a strategy. Sometimes people will say no. Sometimes people will say yes. But we are no longer abiding in the energy of, I gotta make this happen. We are abiding in the energy because we're plugged in, we're unplugged from the matrix of, like, scarcity, fear, control, power dynamics. We're plugged in to truth, vitality, turn on, purpose, vision, expansion. Well, all of those things. And truth is at the heart of it. It's going to set you free. So next Tuesday is going to be magical. But this is the piece that I want you to really explore. And we're going to be exploring deeply this week as you go off to do your first week of Turned On Sales. Okay. So, one thing that I want to say here is that the energy of, like people are going to buy from you, especially if you're in the realm of sharing your wisdom, having offers where you're bringing people into coaching or teaching containers. They're going to buy from you because of your embodiment. They're going to buy from you because of your energy. They're going to buy from you because they're going to be like, that's the person I want as my mentor. I want as my coach, right? It's so it's what makes you trustable, is taking responsibility for your energy every day and plugging in to this river of turn on. All the great things flow from this place, right? And I know that life is busy. um i I just got to tell you, I know life is busy. I actually really know it. I have 3 businesses. I have this property that is epic. I have a son. My son has special needs, right? I'm a single mom. I'm a really blessed single mom because I have the most amazing co-parent relationship, but I'm still a single mom. Like, I gotta pay, like, my bills, It's like nobody else paying, like, I'm doing that. I I I self-care is like, I take epic self-care, right? I sleep 8 to 9 hours a night. I'm a princess about my sleep. I actually call myself a sleep slut. I'm into sleep. Even a nap every day. A lot of days I take a 20-minute nap. Like, I know what it is to be busy. But I promise you, if you don't already have a practice for cultivating your energy each day, it's so much harder without that. Actually, the secret to ease and a state of flow, and where things just blossom and you can just, like, move between things and be in all the things and feel the feelings and keep moving forward and generative and feeling fucking great, is in taking full responsibility for your energy every day and not putting other stuff as a priority over it. Like, it becomes number one, numero uno. Everything else can wait. And when you really orient towards that, you get all the benefits of everything I just mentioned. Plus, you're moving into the terrain of stepping into the energy of being the woman whose energy sells for her. Yeah. So I want to teach you now. Actually, I want to say one thing. For those of you who have felt yucky about sales, you didn't want to do it, you felt avoidant, you you've been putting it off, maybe you were wise because the way that you knew to do it sucked. Because the way that you knew to do it was in that like contracted state where you're like, there's a deep part of you that's like, I don't want to participate in these weird power dynamics or how I'm being taught to sell that has me get into that space with people. I don't want to participate in something where I'm overriding other people's sense of what's true. And I've been taught that in selling, you got to kind of do that and get people to see maybe what they're not seeing. Maybe it's not actually true for them, but you want to make the sale. I don't want to participate in something where it's going to bring up all these feelings for me of fear of like, what if I get rejected? What if I fail? What if I don't make the sale? And it brings up fears and scarcities. Like it's just felt like, uh, uh. Good for you. You are a woman with standards, literally. You've been saying no to what sucks and is against your values, literally. I'm proud of you for saying no. And my hope is that now in these 21 days, I'm going to teach you some simple things right now we're going to do. But in these 21 days, is that you find a new way of doing this that feels like an effing yes. Ah, this is so me. This is who I was born to be. Yeah, I was born to invite people into a beautiful world. That's who I'm meant to be. I have so much fun doing this. Like that there's an expansion that happens for you personally and in your relationship with sales that makes you legitimately say, I love sales. I really love it. And because you have a new way of doing it, right? Been exposed to a new way that makes it feel so good for you. So kudos for you for saying no to something that felt off because you were probably saying no to something that is a vestige of part of our society that's just like, we don't want to play that game. We're playing a different game now. Different game now. All right. So let's talk about the practices that we are going to get into. All right. So this week, what I want to support you in doing is we're going to practice first. And this is really everything. The energy that you show up with to talk about your work. Okay? The energy you show up with to talk about your work. And bravely doing things to go out and talk about what you're a stand for and what you're doing and why it matters and what you see as possible. Right? Don't have to invite people into something on the back end of it right now. We will be doing that starting next week. But you might find, and I have to tell you, sometimes for me, some of my best sales, like I will just go on and post about all these like things I'm so proud of in my work and that's happening in my work and that I love about it. And here's what it makes possible and all this stuff. And just boom, I don't say anything. And then I get all these DMs. Oh my gosh, can I'd really love, do you do one-on-one? When's your next group program? I'd really like to talk to you. That's what happens. Okay. It's also how you establish yourself in the community of being known for what you are a queen of, what you're up to, right? What you're a stand for. And so I want to support us first in really anchoring into this, seeing the magic of what starts to naturally happen when you do what I'm going to teach you right here and go out and just share about your work, share about what you're a stand for. All right. So, what are the things that help us to get into alignment? Alignment is everything. And the mindset and the energy of turned on sales, right? So, first of all, we've talked a bit about this, but the number one, right, is leaning so deep into your vision, it makes you cry. It makes you feel filled with joy. It blasts open your heart, or it creates all three of those experiences at the same time. How deep have you leaned into your vision lately? How deep have you leaned in? How fully have you gone there and really leaning into the vision of what you see as possible, what you know you are called here to do and participate in? Let yourself lean in every day this week. My invitation is the things that I'm going to share with you right now become a morning practice this week. They become a morning practice where you lean into your vision. Dream, dream, let yourself dream. Sometimes I will envision my heart. I do a practice in the morning. I do something called the inner smile meditation practice. And at the end, it's a whole thing. It's gorgeous. But at the end, I feel like this blossoming flower in my heart. It's the lotus of my heart opening and blossoming. And then my love extends to all beings. And I really let myself feel into that. And then I dream into my love touching all the women I'm here to serve. And then I envision them growing and I envision them expanding and I envision them filled with their voices and their wealth and the joy I start to feel inside my body is so intense and the love and it's so beautiful. Sometimes there's tears and it's like, oh my gosh, just let yourself dream into that. I cannot say enough the value of this. Because life is busy, but this is the epicenter. Make time in the morning to dream hard, dream deep. Let your heart go there. See the vision. Like and if you're envisioning something and it's just not doing it for you, scrap it. What's the vision that does it for you? What's the vision that turns you on? What if we don't have one vision? Great. Envision both. Envision both. Boundless. Envision one of all the people you're meant to serve in your business and your coaching, and it's just serving. It's on, and your art. Oh my God! And it's just all of it. Oh my God! It's just this massive orgasm of vision and joy and touching. Yes, all of it, all of it, all of it. Make time to get into that energy. This is what makes you magnetic, and it what plugs you into what turns you on. Yeah. Turn on your heart. Feel it until you are just enraptured and really go there. All right. Then, all right, I want to invite you to root deep into the value of what you have to offer, right? Really root deep and really feel into what is the benefit of women who come through my offer? What does it make possible for them? Wow. Really go there. Dream into that, right? Into the benefit of your offer, the world that becomes possible when people invest in your offer. Go deep. Sometimes I feel like we don't go so deep because there's this underlying pattern in our life of a question mark that's running the show. It's just kind of been there since we were really young. Am I valuable? Is what I have to do valuable? And we're looking for other people to verify that it's valuable. But really, first and foremost, this internal validation is an inside job. And I want to support you in going deep and leaning into the value of what you have to offer. What is the benefit, right? What is it that you know that people come into your world, they are going to have a shift that will change the course of their lives and really feel into that, right? Anchor yourself deeply into that. So there's an internal question that I want to give you to help prompt you with this, right? So the question is, who is this for? There's three questions. Who is this for? Your offer, your product, your offer. Who is this for? What do I want for them? What do I want for them? And then the final question is, and why does that matter so much? Why does what I want for them, why does that matter so much? And that third question just takes you so deep into this abiding realm of your own strong inner belief, faith, and trust in what you have to offer. Who is this for? What do I want for them? And why does that matter so much? So that's the other part of your practice every morning, right? Vision, offer. Who is this for? What do I want for them? Why does that matter so much? What does my offer make? What are the benefits of what it makes possible? What does it make possible, people? What do I know in my bones? People come into my world, they are going to just transform. They buy this product, it's going to change their lives, it's going to bring them so much joy, greater ease, whatever it is, right? Those are the two things. Now, I'm going to get to the third piece in just a second, all right? But I do want to ask you something. Are you over the moon about your offer? Like, are you so in love with your offer? Like, is it world class? Yeah. Do you believe 10,000% in what your offer can make possible for people? And does that turn you on in your body? Like, legit turn you on and fill you with joy? Are you totally in love with it? Because if you're not, I invite you to scrap it, right? Or ask the questions. What do I need to add to this to make it outstanding and turn me on? How do I need to evolve my offer to make it just the best, most fabulous offering I know I believe in, right? Or what do I need to remove, right? Or maybe I got to scrap it and really let myself dream into what my offer is. It is worth it to have an offer that you are so aligned with, that turns you on, turns you on. It is worth it because the joy and the freedom of energy in turn you're going to feel from go out there to sell it is so connected to that. All right. So it's a good check-in on your offer here. All right. Now, here is the fourth practice. And this will require us all standing up because this is a physical, energetic practice. All right. It's actually the third practice. There's vision, offer, and the energetics. All right. So here we go. We're going to stand up. Okay. This is so simple. It's so simple. I've taught this for a few years. People love it. It works. And it takes 3 seconds. All right. So I would like for you to find there are two spots on the floor in front of you. All right. I want you to step on the first one. All right. Over to your right. You're going to step on the right. And I want you to feel the energy of fear of what if people say no to your offer? What if people say no? What if nobody responds? What if people don't like it? What if I make a fool of myself? What if I don't make the money? And just let yourself feel the contraction of all the worries, the fears, right? You're there and just notice how it feels without trying to change it. Good. And now I want you to step over to your left and step on the second spot. And this is the spot where you are standing in the full value. You know how valuable what you have to bring to this world is. Your vision, the energy of your vision of what you see is possible for people, right? Your joy of bringing it out and seeing a world that is actually manifesting from your vision and standing in this energy and feeling this inside. You are connected here to the value of what you have to offer. And feel what that feels like inside your body. And now go back over to your right and feel the contraction, the disconnection from the value of what you have to offer, the worry, the fear. scarcity. And now step over to your left, standing in the river of what you have to offer, standing in the aliveness that flows through your sense of purpose, standing in the deep trust that is all unfolding here from this place. And notice how you feel. Let's go back again and toggle between the two a few times. Contracted, disconnected from the value. Step over, connected to the value, connected to the vision, connected to the joy of what you know is possible. And step back again, contracted, disconnected from the value, worry, fear. And the last time, step back into the value, the river of your turn on, the river of your vision, the river of what you know you're here to bring, the river of what you see as possible for this world and for people. And feel it. Breathe. Let yourself saturate in this feeling. Can you feel the difference? Can you feel the difference? Let's now go to the chat. I want to see, can you feel the difference, or what do you experience from one to the other? Do you feel the difference in your energy? Like a light switching, turning on and off. Awesome. Yes. What do you experience going back and forth? Absolutely. What do you experience? That was such a powerful practice. It was like the earth moved beneath my feet. Expansion versus contraction and sinking. Yes. Incredibly so. Fear to freedom. Yes. Fear to freedom. So, this is so simple. Your practice is the following. You're gonna I want to invite you to do it in the morning, right? Or even if you got to take the kids to school, you come back, you carve out some time in these 21 days. It doesn't have to take long. You connect to the value. Connect to the value. You connect to, the vision. Connect first to the vision. You're connecting to the vision. You're seeing it. You're dreaming hard into the vision, right? You are connecting to the value of what you have to offer. You're asking those internal questions. Who is this for? What do I want for them? And why does that matter so much? And then you do this practice where you go back and forth a few times. Get yourself into that state of alignment, of turn on, of expansion. And then I want to support you in doing something from that energy to go out and communicate about your work. Take that energy and make it your daily practice. You're going to go out, whether it's writing a post, whether it's calling someone up, whether it's sending an email, whether it's creating a reel. Create and communicate from that energy about what you're a stand for, about what you see as possible, about the miracle of what becomes possible in the work that you do for people. That's the energy. All right. So this is our practice this week. Next week, we're taking it further and deeper. I'm going to teach you an incredible process, right? To take this and then go out there and sell with a lot more like clear, doing sales conversations, leaning into sales, speaking from live events, speaking on stage. We're going to actually do it. But this week, I want you to focus on the energetics and be the woman whose energy sells for her. Cultivate that self leadership. When it gets hard, you'll have moments. Maybe you press send on something and you've got to, what if nobody responds? This happens, right? You don't get as many responses as you want. This is also the practice. It's the self-leadership. We bring those feelings home into our heart. We nurture them. We love them. We care for them. And then we get back in action anyway. And we replug in. We vision. We connect to the value of our offer. We feel the energy of the beautiful turn on and joy, and passion and value. And we communicate again. We lead again from that place, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit, but after a little bit, people start noticing, oh my God, you're every day. sharing this stuff. That is who this person is. I start to be drawn in, right? So this is the practice. We show up and we self-lead every day. So new queens, rooted in our wisdom, rooted in our vision, rooted in the value of what we have to bring, rooted in our aliveness, our turn on our vitality, rooted in our desire and our yes to wealth and resources. This is what we're stepping into energetically this week. And next week, we're going to take it further. All right. I would love to hear what is landing for you right now. What are you committed to this week? What is alive for you that you see as possible for yourself this week? As you're leaning here into the 21 day sales turned on sales challenge, what are you committed to? What's your commitment? What are you leaning into? What's alive for you? Let's hear it in the chat. Self-leadership as a daily practice. That's it. Action. New queen energy rising and lions roar. I love that. Yes, there will be recordings. Yes, there will be. As a matter of fact, once this recording is live and uploaded, we'll be sending it out. My hope is later today. There will be actual replay page where all the recordings are going to live. We're going to send to you. I love this. I can't wait to start doing this. Everyone, it feels so good, Maria. I'm so excited for you too. I'm so excited for all of you. I have the best days. It's pretty consistent now because when I plug into those energy, it's like you really get to feel this good all the time, even though maybe some crazy banana stuff is happening in your life. You really do. You really do. All right. This resonates so beautiful. Like you cared for the land, you kept showing up for it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Literally everything, committed to everything. Amazing. And really cultivating my energy and vision, Whitney says, leaning into my vision. I have a book signing party. Yay, Barbara! Gonna sell books. Get out there, sell those books. That's right. Those books are awesome. Yes, I'm committed to being seen and heard in my yes, rooting into my value. I reclaim my crown and take responsibility daily. New AM practice, growing into the embodied leader I can be. Yes. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love seeing all of this. I'm going to start seeing where the signs are already there and waiting for me to be in the frequency. Beautiful. I'm committed to leaning in to my big vision and feeling it every day. Gorgeous. All right, everybody. Everybody here feeling turned on? Are you feeling turned on about this new direction of sales in your life? Are you turned on about this new way of being and selling and showing up? We're gonna do such epic work next Tuesday. Oh my God, you're gonna love it. So practice this week what we're doing here. I'm gonna send a recap in an email. And next week, we're gonna really take it further. It's gonna epic. All right. So beautiful. Thank you all for being so engaged. Thank you all for your energy, for leaning in. Engagement is where it's at, and it's where the fun is. So thank you for being here. I'm so excited to be in this challenge with you. I'm going to be sending messages to you every day in the WhatsApp group. I'm going to be there pinging you every day, every day. So just keep moving in. You need a little like extra love and support. I'm there for you. All right. Let's do this. I'm sending you all tons of love. Mwah. All right. All right. Have fun with your morning practice. Plug it in. Plug it in and communicate from that place. You've got this. Mwah. Yes, there's a WhatsApp. There is a WhatsApp. Let me see if I can find the link for the WhatsApp for you. Angelica, if you're here, is Angelica still here? Angelica, if you're here, will you put the WhatsApp link? I'm also going to try to look for it here right now for you. WhatsApp group. WhatsApp. Angelica. Let me see here. WhatsApp. Okay. Yeah, it'll be in the email. It'll be in the email. I am trying to see if I can find it for you here so you can have it. I think I have it. So some people have been having some issues with getting in there, and there are some nice instructions that Angelica has created for us about how to get into the WhatsApp group. So basically, my understanding is if you have an issue on it on your phone, make sure the WhatsApp app is open. You can also just go into your browser on your desktop and put the link in there and get in there, and that will resolve any issues. We also have, I think, a QR code that she even put in the email, the autoresponder. So we'll send, maybe Angelica, we should send out that QR code again. All right, ladies, I'll see you in the WhatsApp group. Bye.